So here we are on page 220 and we're looking at 2b and 2c. So again, we're finding stationary points. That's where the slope is equal to 0. And we're figuring out if they're a maximum or minimum. So the first thing is we want to straighten this out, get the powers on the numerator. Then we're going to take the derivative and then we're going to make the derivative equal to 0. It's probably going to be easier if we write it this way, so let's go ahead and do that. It's going to be 0 equals 8x minus 8 over x squared. Well, I'm just going to add 8 over x squared to both sides. So now I've got a fraction equal to a fraction, so I can cross multiply. That's going to give me 8 equals 8x to the third. If I divide both sides by 8, 1 is equal to x to the third. If I take the cube root of both sides, x is going to equal 1. So that's the x value for my point. If I plug the 1 back into the original equation, I find out that the y value is 12. That's my point. Now I got to take the second derivative and find out whether it's a maximum or minimum. So again, the second derivative is just taking the derivative of the derivative, and we're going to find out that it's going to be positive. Because once we rewrite this and we have 8 over 16 over x to the third, well, you can tell if I put a 1 in there, and that's going to be 16 over 1, so that's going to end up being positive. Anyway, if it's positive, second derivative, that means that the point we found is a minimum point. That means that after that point, it goes up. So let's do the other one. So we're going to straighten it out, get the powers in the numerator. Then we're going to go ahead and I guess we have to square this binomial. And then we're going to multiply the whole thing by x to the negative 1. Remember, when you're adding or multiplying monomials, you add the exponents. Pay careful attention when you're doing that. Anyway, now we're going to find the derivative. That's going to be 1, and then negative 9x to the negative second. So I can rewrite that as 1 minus 9 over x squared. I'm going to make that equal to 0. Once again, I'm going to add the 9x squared to both sides. And I'm going to have two fractions equal to each other. So I can cross multiply. And I'm going to find out that 9 is equal to x squared. And then x is going to equal plus or minus 3. So if I got plus or minus 3 of my two x's, I got to plug them back in and find out what my y's are. My y's are going to be 0. And then when I do the second one, that's going to be, let's see, negative 3. That's going to be negative 12. So now we've got our 2 points. And now what we've got to do is find the second derivative and plug in the x values for that. We're going to get, let's see, 18x to the negative third. So I'm going to rewrite that as 18 over x to the third. Well, if I put a positive 3 in there, it's obviously going to be positive. So this is going to be a minimum point. And if I have 18 over negative 3 to the third, well, then it's going to be negative. And that's going to make that a maximum. All right? That's all we got for this one. I do hope that helps. Thanks.